welcome to the newest episode of Head Speaks, your home of all things geeky. I am your host, Aaron Brotherhead Moss. Let the show begin. Hey, dear listeners, Brotherhead coming at you. Welcome to Head Speaks, episode number 74. So before I get going, just a quick question. What do you guys think about the new intro I've been using in the last couple episodes? It's a little quicker, a little more to the point, a little less copyright infringing. Let me know. I'd like to hear from you guys. Head@headspeaks.com. Again, my Headcast network is still down. I'm still working on it. But yeah, you can email me at head@headspeaks.com. Let me know what you think about the new intro or anything else about the show. But enough about that, and let's get into some more copyright infringing. Let's go ahead and start with the only segment I'm doing today. Roll it.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
In the great hall of the Justice League,
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
the Justice League of America versus the Legion of Doom. This is
What's in Head's Long Box?
Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind. The world's greatest super friends.
So let's go ahead and continue. This month we are looking at Power of the Atom, number 14. The end is near, kids. We can see the end from here. There was only 18 issues in this series. We're episode 14. So after this episode or issue, there's only 4 episodes left of Power of the Atom. I'll figure out what we do after that. When I talk about issue 18, I'll talk about where the Atom goes from there. Spoilers, he survives this series. Let's go ahead and look at issue 14 of Power of the Atom. This was cover dated July 1989. On sale date was May the 30th, 1989. The cover price, $1. The editor of this was Mike Carlin. This issue was entitled Skin Game. The plotter was Roger Stern. The writer, Tom Robert Pyre. Ink penciler was Graham Nolan. Inkers, Keith Stan Wilson. Letter, Albert Tobias de Guzman. Colorist was still Nancy Houlihan. And the cover was done by Graham Nolan and Brett Breeding. So let's go ahead and get started with this issue. The cover of this, we have the Atom fighting Humbug. Humbug's choking Atom. Atom's pulling on Humbug. And again, Humbug's a loose pile of skin at this point, wrapping around him. There's a cover blurb saying the traumatic return of the reusable man. Atom's in his full costume. Top corner, we have the DC logo with the Atom looking up at us with the pink Atom, whatever behind him, be the Atom symbol, but it's all pink. And Humbug is singing, Humbug's back and you're gonna be in trouble, He's singing, Humbug's back, you're gonna be in trouble. I'm just assuming it's to the tune of My Boyfriend's Back, an oldie but a classic. Let's go ahead and take a look at the issue itself, though. So the story starts out with a guy named Dr. Anton Kraft, who is catching a cab headed towards the Atom's house. And again, I wasn't familiar with him at the time. I know from the story we're going to find out that apparently the Atom crossed over once before. And according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, the same place I get all the credit information, it tells us that Anton Kraft appeared back in Showcase number 36 in 1961. Back in an early appearance of the Atom is when he first met up with Anton Kraft. Just so you guys are aware, like I am now. But yeah, Anton gives the address for the Atom's place, and the cab driver is, I know that's at the Atom's place. It's always in the news, all the time. Crazy experiments, nerve gas bombs, supervillains attack, stuff like that. And I like this driver, the cab driver, as he's driving, is like, listen, not that you look it or anything, but you're not one of the supervillains, are you? And the guy in the back seat's like, me? No. I hope to God, no. So it leaves the like, who is this guy? Especially, like I say, when I came in, I didn't know who this was. I didn't have Mike's Amazing World to let me know that he appeared back in the Showcase book, which I never read. I knew of it, but yeah, I never read those old issues because, again, I didn't have access to them. So, yeah, I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And what's going on with our dear Adam? So after our little intro here with our mysterious Mr. Anton, we start out the story with a flashback or a retelling. Not necessarily retelling, but basically Adam is talking to Norm, and what they're doing is they're getting ready for the next book they're working on, the sequel to The Adam's Farewell. And so Adam, he's like, God, no. That was the only coherent thought, Norm. It replayed endlessly that day. God, no. Every man, woman, and child and new Mordecai died in those flames. My intended bride, my closest friends, everyone but me. So he's kind of recapping or he's going over what happened at the beginning of the series, how he left and what happened to his friends and in quotes family when he was in the South American jungles. So again, I do love this art on this page. Again, we have at the bottom, we have Ray kind of looking at the reader. His face is partly in shadows. Behind him, we have Norm listening. And above that, we have a scene. We have the title Skin Game. And we have an image of Ray holding a knife in his hand. It looks like a knife, leaning on his arm on a piece of metal, looks like. It looks like he's about ready to break down in tears. Behind him, New Morlada. I keep pronouncing it a different way because I can't pronounce it the right way. Burning behind him. So it's fantastic the way this is drawn. Again, the Adam's got his warrior costume on. It's basically his Adam costume, but he's got the necklace and he's got the belt with you can see the sash or whatever in front of it. Great image. Just very heartbreaking that Ray had to go through this, losing his newest family and everyone that he swore to protect and that he loved there died. So again, as I said earlier, we're coming to the final stretches of this book. So judge it. And again, this may be foreshadowing what's coming up, that we've got some revelations or some answers coming or some more information coming on the attack on the South America clearing there. But that's enough for that right now. We'll move on from there. And again, so Norm, being the friend he is like, maybe we can skip this for now. We might talk to Invasion and again, he knows that it's hurting Ray to bring up these thoughts and bring up the memories of what happened with his adopted family, if you will, his fiance and everyone there. But he knows they also need to cover for the book. But I guess both him and Ray have signed a contract saying they'll do the books and what happened after the Adam's Farewell. So something they need to cover, but it's kind of hard on Ray to go through it. And trying to move away from that subject, Norm asked Ray, about Humbug, tell me what you know about him or how your study of the Humbug skin that was left behind is coming. And Ray's like, I don't know anything. It's just basically a hunk of skin left. It calls a lifeless bag of synthetic skin on the table. And as he's saying this, Humbug we see his arm and his head on the last couple of panels of this page 3 rising from the table that he's laying on. So I do like that he's saying it's a lifeless bag of skin as this lifeless bag of skin is starting to move. Very nice kind of foreshadowing. Apparently that's my word for the day, foreshadowing. But yeah, I do like the way they're doing it. And as they're talking, Norm's like, why don't you start from the beginning? And so, Saved by the Bell, the door rings, and he answers. Some guy's there with a curly hair, glasses, mustache, delivering a package. And the guy's like, package for Ray Palmer. And Ray's like, that's odd. I wasn't expecting it. Look, I don't have time to hear your life story, okay? And Ray's like, I wish everyone felt the same. Here you go. Wow, it's got a buffalo head. I'm rich. So the delivery guy's delivering a package to Ray. And I love the sarcasm and then the snark from this delivery guy. Too bad this is the last we'll ever see of him. Or is it? So Ray's trying to open this package, and apparently the wrapper won't rip, and he can't find any seams, so he's having a problem trying to open this package. Meanwhile, as he's saying the weirdest thing I've ever seen, we see Humbug's old skin come sliding under the door into a room somewhere. Kind of creepy looking the way the skin's crawling under the door. And so Ray puts the package down so they can work on the novel somewhere. I like this. Ray tosses the package down because he's like, Norm's all, look, Ray, can't wait. The sooner we finish this thing. And Ray's like, I know. The sooner we go back to being friends. He's like, what do you know about Humbug? You were there. He's like, well, let's hear your side of it. And so as they're talking, he's like, yeah, I don't know why he attacked. It's like he had no good reason. And as he's talking, he says he seems to be possessed with a fanatical sense of purpose. He clearly wanted a piece of me, but didn't care who he hurt And as he's talking, that bag of skin crawls under the door of Ray's house, it looks like, or Norm's house, wherever they're at. It must be Ray's house. And reaches up and it hits a button or something on the package that's laying on the counter. And all of a sudden, Humbug pops up out of the box. Another Humbug, if you will. Going, so this is how you try that again. He says, so this is how you talk behind my back, Raymond. I do like how he pops out of the box and he leaps out and grabs Norm Brawler. And Ray's like, Humbug, you're alive. He's like, yep, but your co-author here won't be if you so much as twitch. He's like, change into your clown suit and I might. Take it easy on Norm, that is. And again, Ray is able to change into his costume right away. I love that. And again, Humbug being Humbug's like, oh, much better. I couldn't have dared seeing another second of seeing you. I couldn't have dared another second of seeing your face. And Norm's like, ugh. And Humbug's like, Norman here says he agrees with me. And so Ray's trying to talk Humbug down. And real quick, I'm going to say if they were to do a series or a movie or something on the Atom and did this storyline or use the Humbug, I could see Ryan Reynolds playing him because to me, Humbug has that Ryan Reynolds sense of quirkiness and very smart mouthness, if you will. But as Humbug is threatening to kill Norm if Ray comes any closer, all of a sudden Humbug gets a voice in his head. Humbug, return to mobile base immediately. He's like, shut up, can't sit in the middle of something? Return to mobile base immediately. How can I concentrate with you yammering in my head? And Ray's, you can't help but see this. So he's like, Humbug's hearing voices, which gives him just a minute to shrink down. And again, as he does, he's able to shrink down. And then he uses all his 180 pounds of mass to punch Humbug in the forehead, making him let loose of Norm. And yeah, I love this series. It shows a bop. And Humbug's like, argh. Okay, this round to you, shrimp. But I'll be back as he goes into nothingness and drops. Again, if they did this, we'd have to use a lot of CGI for this, but I still think Ryan Reynolds would be a good Humbug. He's just got that same kind of attitude to me. As Humbug disappears, Ray's like, he did it again. What am I supposed to do about a maniac who simply leaves his body? Norm's like, ask my lunch. I think he's about to do the same thing. And so we cut over to a delivery van, Overnight Express, about 3 blocks over, it says. And we see the weird delivery guy I mentioned earlier, sitting on a box slumped over, and all of a sudden he sits up and the wig pops off, the glasses, fake nose, and fake beard mustache goes flying off. We see it's another Humbug body. And the person talking in his head is reprimanding him, telling him, we told you, not to break the law. What are you doing? It was dangerous because he deceived the 2 CIA agents that was watching Ray earlier in the series. And he's able to trick them into going to, Utah. And then again, it's kind of recapping Humbug's appearances and what he's been doing in the series. He tricked the 2 CIA guys to go to Utah. He attacked Ray at the Warner Books building, whatever it was. And the voices in his head tells him, we no longer trust you with this. We'll contact Palmer ourselves. And Humbug's like, Ryan, in my opinion, golly, Pop, does that mean I'm grounded? And the voice is like, it means you'll approach the Atom again at your own peril. Go suck a microwave. And I'm going to say real quick, there's an ad in here for Olympic. You could sell, I believe this was greeting cards and wrapping paper, if I'm not mistaken. I did some of these back in the day. I remember I did the Olympic. You could earn either money, either earn $1 per item, or you could earn points to buy things. And I forget what all I bought through this one. I did a couple different ones. I think I bought a magic set through one of these, and I forget what else now, but it was an interesting little thing. You could sell different things. Sometimes there were flowers or plants. Sometimes it was cars and wrapping paper. I forget what Olympic was offhand. It doesn't necessarily say here, but I did do this Captain O, this Olympic, and earned some gifts and prizes through here, which was interesting. It was again, back in the day, I was a salesman. I would sell everything I could. Me and Buddy Dean was always getting top prizes with their church or whatever for doing sales. So, or at school or whatever it may be. In fact, I remember one time I told my ex-wife, I was delivering newspapers at night and she went with me one time, or a couple times actually, but one time we were talking. I was mentioning how me and Dean used to be good salesmen when we were younger. And I'm like, I remember there was one time I sold my grandma. She came back, so I sold her again. My stupid ex-wife's like, really? No, Renee, I wasn't serious. But again, funny story about my past. But yeah, I do remember this Captain O, this Olympic Sales, fond memories. But moving on from here, let's get back to the story. Speaking of the two CIA agents that went to Utah, we're over to them. And one of them's complaining that, it's been 2 weeks, his visa's over the limit, they're out of cash, and no word from the company. They don't know what the heck they're doing. Again, Humbug tricked them into going to Utah. They think they're doing it on the company's behalf, so they haven't heard from the company, so they're wondering what's going on. And as they're talking, they're getting some chit and chat back and forth. And, one of them's like, what if the Atom did it? What if he caught on to us? And he's like, the Atom's a superhero. He's not going to trick us to come to Utah, you idiots. If you think a superhero could outthink 2 seasoned U.S. intelligence operatives, well, you're out-tricked by a supervillain, so why not? All of a sudden, the door gets kicked in, and there's a cowboy there. Again, he's got that Texas drawl. He's like, boys, I got a problem. See, my itchy whip hand tells me it's no fun to lash a couple of dead men. Trouble is, my shooting hand's mighty eager too. Now, which one should I indulge? And the guy who's got a rope in one hand, a lasso in one hand, and a gun in the other, cowboy hat. And again, the guy's saying, they're like, who the heck is this guy? He's like, you mean you never heard of me? Shoot, I thought they had used my picture to scare you the sissies out of spy school. See, I'm Black Snake, and I'm what the CIA does to vermins who run away. What? Now, don't you two even think about reaching for your shooting irons? And the one on the bed's like, don't worry, Tex. I wouldn't dream of it. He grabs a lamp and throws it at the cowboy, knocking him out. Or not knocking him out, but he blinds him with the lamp. And then the two agents attack him and knock him down and knock him out. So again, this is going to keep for later. This is a subplot. So again, the two CIA agents that was sent to Utah, they're coming back into play. Again, they wrapping things up by the end of the series, hopefully. Meanwhile, we're back with Ray and Norman. Now they've got 2 Humbug husks, we'll call it, on their hands. Norman's holding one and Ray's got another one in a jar. And they're starting to put the other one in a jar when all of a sudden the doorbell rings. And Ray's like, Norm, let me get that. And Norm's like, you put that away before it grabs somebody. I'll take a little peek and, I'll handle this, Ray. He opens the door, this little Girl Scout. And she's like, want to order a book of food pellet, mister? Food pellets? Norm's like, I thought you all sold cookies, honey. Well, we do sell cookies to regular folks and pellets to gerbils like you. As he takes off his nose, the little girl takes off her nose and glasses, and we see it's Humbug in a little girl body. Again, it's got that blank Humbug face with no nose, but you clearly see it's Humbug. He's like, and by the way, never call me honey. As she or it releases the gas. Oh, he throws the glasses down in the nose, and a pink mist comes squirting out. And I'm not sure what the mist does besides distract him, because no one gets knocked out. It doesn't seem to hurt him. But all of a sudden, the body falls, the Girl Scout body falls to the ground, and the Humbug suit he was put into a jar pops up out of the jar. He's like, why don't you pick up someone your own size? And Adam shrinks down. And again, I like as the Humbug goes flying around the room, trying to attack the Atom. Adam jumps off a chair and jumps into Humbug's ear as Humbug's kind of flying around the room, it looks like, looking for Ray. And again, I love the way this is drawn. Again, we get out here at the top of page 14. We see the Atom shrinking down into his miniature size. And then we see him jumping off this couch. And then here at the bottom of the page, we see him shrinking down even further to go into Humbug's ear. As I've said previously, I love when they show Ray shrinking down or growing bigger, and they show the different sizes as he grows or shrinks. I love the way that's drawn. I love the way they do that. It's fantastic. But he goes inside of Humbug, and as he does that, about this time, Anton arrives at the Ray's house. And again, he's telling me the moment has come to face Ray Palmer. My stomach tells me to run away. I keep thinking how he once helped me, again, back in showcase number 36, back in 1961. But he goes on, how I've since hurt him. Strange that a man with so many enemies would leave his door wide open. And he looks down, he sees the Humbug little girl body laying on the floor. But this one didn't collapse into a bag of skin. This one's more firm, it looks like. It looks like a little girl laying on the floor. And so we get some further thoughts from Anton here with him wondering, or making us wonder what's going on, what's he up to. Because he's kind of thinking to himself how he may have hurt Ray and be behind some of Ray's problems. So it makes you wonder what's going on here. Again, I love the way that they're slowly slipping us some of who Anton is, and leaving it a mystery as to his involvement with Ray's problems. But they are hinting more and more that this guy has something to do with it. Meanwhile, Ray is inside of Humbug, and he notices it's like a bunch of circuits and almost like a computer in there almost, if you will. And as Ray's trying to figure out, all of a sudden everything goes black as Humbug leaves that body and he goes into the little girl body. And Anton's looking at the little girl and he's like, what is this? Someone there? Help me, please. Something terrible has happened. And Humbug, Girl Scout Humbug wakes up and goes, it has? You big meanie, you let me sleep right through it. And as Ray comes crawling out of the Humbug skin, the girl grabs him and picks him up. She's kind of captured him. And again, as she's holding on to him, Ray's like, use your head, Humbug. If you think you can hold me. And Humbug's like, hey, a girl can fantasize, can't she? But I'm sure you'll do something predictable, like shoot between my molecles before I pop your little head off. And about this time, Norm looks over and he looks and he sees Anton in the doorway. Not knowing what's going on, he jumps out and he grabs Anton, thinking that he's one of the Humbugs. The noise out front distracts the real Humbug. He's like, what? And the Atom, I'm not sure what he does here. Maybe he's, I don't know. He uses his powers, and all of a sudden the little girl's hand explodes. And she or he, whatever, makes a comment how they hate robot bodies. You know, give me a good bag of skin any day. So somehow Atom shrinking down or whatever caused the robot's hand to explode. And all of a sudden she starts jerking. She's like, but no, they say we got to think about expenses. And she leaves that body, or he leaves that body, making it collapse. And again, Ray's like, great. He's gone again. It could be anywhere. I still can't get him to stand and fight. But I may have learned something. He said they pay me for my bodies, or his bodies. Was this one of his foolish jokes or someone running the show? And meanwhile, aside, Norm is apologizing to Anton. So he's kind of worked out who the guy is. And apparently we find out he tells him, you know, that if I would have known who you are, I wouldn't have tweaked you, pulled your nose. So apparently he tried to grab Anton's nose, pulling it off, thinking it was Humbug. Meanwhile, Humbug comes rushing through them, knocks him down. And as he does, Humbug looks over at Anton. He's like, why don't you watch her go on you. And they both say you at the same time. Threaten me, will you? And he just knocks Anton down, who causes Anton to crack his head on the cement. So this tells us that apparently Anton is something behind Humbug and Humbug being here. So whatever the Atom may have done to help out Anton in the past, and this is what Anton's kind of worried about when he was saying that he's worried that maybe he's done something to hurt Ray or the Atom. This is why, because apparently he's somehow behind Humbug. And Ray sees Anton get knocked on the ground. He cracks his head on the ground, possibly dying. We don't know at this point. And Ray just loses like, Humbug, this ends now. And he puts all of his strength behind a super punch right to Humbug's gut, knocking him out or down. His hand goes through the Humbug skin. And again, great design here on page 19, where we see Ray's fist going through Humbug. Humbug's like, ooh. And again, as he does, he wills himself from the body and goes elsewhere. And Ray jumps over to help out Anton Croft. And Anton's like, Humbug, Gasalt, watching you, And he passes out, and Ray's not getting a pulse. And again, here at the bottom of page 19, just a fantastic shot of Ray giving CPR to Anton. And there's a pool of blood by his head where he cracked his head on the pavement, bleeding out. It's just a fantastic image here of Ray trying to save this old guy. It's apparently causing Ray problems. We cut to a few minutes later where the ambulance is taking him away. They're saying that he suffered serious head injuries and that they're surprised they're able to get a regular heartbeat. And again, Ray's like, well, will he regain consciousness anytime soon? And the paramedic's like, maybe? I don't know. These things are hard to say. As it wills away, Ray's like, it's kind of reminiscent. He's like, he hasn't seen Croft since he helped him defect from Hungary. That was years ago, as we talked about in real time back in 1961. And it says he struck me as a decent man, but who knows what he's been up to since then. And what do you mean by Gasalt? How many will hurt before I get a handle on this? And the police been talking with Norm. They come over to find out from Ray what's going on. And Ray admits, I have no clue. And the only person that may know just rode away in the ambulance. So again, I love Ray here. This is very, very, very good artwork on this. I love the way they're drawing Ray and this story that's been going on for almost the entire series on and off. It's starting to come to some sort of head, and we're getting some answers hopefully here in the next issue or two. And this story ends with Humbug back at his home lair, talking to the mysterious voices again. And he comes walking in. He's like, that's funny. I could have sworn I left the lights on. Humbug, you dare show your face here? He's like, I live here. And he's got the delivery man's glasses and hair with a wig with him. And the voice is like, we know what you did. Oh, yeah, good. Maybe you'll think twice before threatening me like that. We are finished with threats, Humbug. You attacked a member of the Gestalt. You have injured all of us. Just as surely you have hurt him. There's only one penalty. He's like, no, please, you can't do that to me. I'm your own flesh and blood. Sort of. Can't we talk this like two grown... And they kind of electrocute or they fry Humbug's brain bodysuit. I'm not quite sure what they're doing here. But we see like pink energy encircling Humbug as he collapses to the ground. And they said they're scanning. And apparently they did a discharge to all the Humbug units in the area they're aware of. And they've neutralized all the Humbug suits, in essence, killing Humbug. But as we end, as they're saying, nothing to contain it, the force will have dissipated by now. His ordeal is ended. Humbug is dead. And in the delivery van that's sitting there wide open, we see a box that says, ha, 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 ha. And so we know that Humbug's not quite dead yet, but he's on and out with his employers, the Gestalt. And the next issue blurb tells us, what's a Gestalt? And where do little humbugs come from? The answers are all in the mind in 30 days. So again, great issue. I love, as I've said many times, I love the power of the atom. I thought that the writers and artists and everyone on this entire book did a great job. I love the artwork. Fantastic. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Send me an email to adam@headspeaks.com. The Headcast Network site's still down. I am working on that. So for now, you can email me at theadam@headspeaks.com. I'll get back to you. Check out my Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Headcast Network. And join me here every month and continue to cover The Atom. Again, I've got 4 issues left of The Atom to cover, and then I'll decide from there what I'm going to cover next. I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of good ideas in my head. It's just getting them out onto the podcast. But I will be covering something. Head Speaks is an ongoing project, so join me next month. And I think that's going to do it for this time. Until next time, remember, kids, Head has spoken. Thank you for listening to another fantastic episode of Head Speaks. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, let me know. Drop me an email to head@headspeaks.com or visit our home at head.headspeaks.com. You can also visit and talk with me on Facebook and Google+, both under Head Speaks. You can also send an MP3 file with your thoughts and I can play that on the air. And you can also get more of me on my other podcasts. Be sure to listen to Task Force X, where monthly I look at John Ostrander's Suicide Squad and Paul Kuppenberg's Checkmate comics from the 80s and early 90s. Also, over on G.I. Joe, A Real American Headcast, my podcasting friends Ryan Daly and Kyle Benning, along with myself, are looking at all of the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero comics, and related titles from Marvel and IDW. All of my headcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher, along with the respective blogs and my main page at headspeaks.com. All comments, thoughts, and opinions expressed on Head Speaks are owned wholly by the speaker of said comments and do not express the opinions of Head Speaks, unless, of course, I'm the one making the comments. Head Speaks, Task Force X, and G.I. Joe, A Real American Headcast, are all part of the Headcast family. So join us next month for another wonderful episode of Head Speaks. Until then, I'll see you in the funny pages. Good night.